Anyway, being chubby makes it harder to be kidnapped, so have fun when some loser ties you up in a basement and R-words you because you made yourself a twig. Oh my god, why did your mind even go to that? Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Melina, formerly fat, currently fed up, and today we are checking out some r/FatLogic over on Reddit. If you are watching this right now, that means I am in Japan, yay! So if I am a little less active in my comment section / my community posts / Discord. That is why. I will do my best. However, I will not be glued to my phone because I'm in Japan. Go ahead and grab your 0 to low calorie drinks. I have my rain, which actually matches me, and my frog back there. I kept going to Whole Foods, and this is not sponsored, by the way. It should be, but it is not. Every time I went to Whole Foods, I saw him there, and I regretted not getting him every time I went. So I had to get him, and he will be in the background going forward. Like I said, we will be going over r/FatLogic over on Reddit. I love the subreddit. It is full of people like us, people who understand that obesity is not good, it is dangerous, and this is a place where people will compile the nonsense and lunacy that they see out in the wild, and we congregate over here. The description of their sub says, FatLogic is anything that deviates from the scientific facts of body weight management. This can range from fundamental misunderstandings of how biology and physics work to lengthy political diatribes about how everything is society's fault. Falling victim to FatLogic means accepting misinformation that will harm effort to keep your body at a healthy weight or to lose weight if you need so. This is sorted by best. The first post is a reminder that the propaganda and misinformation we criticize here has real world blood on its hands. Here's a chart from the Wall Street Journal showing more Americans under 55 are dying of severe heart attacks, and you can see here younger women are dying at higher rates of severe first heart attacks than younger men. Heart disease is the #1 killer in America, which is why I harp on about this so often. Heart disease has ruined people in my family. Type 2 diabetes has also ruined people in my family. So this is a topic that I clearly feel very strongly about. So this looks like it's posted over on Tumblr, which is the mecca for all the fat acceptance, health at every size nonsense. Someone said, if you don't think fat people are attractive, you must die. Oh, already. It is impossible to have a sexual or romantic preference in a vacuum. Preferences cannot be free of bias. And if your preference is, I have and will never be attracted to a fat person, you have a bias and you are fat phobic. Okay. Now what? Okay. Whether you want to be or not. Sorry, that's how oppression works. Okay. So me not being attracted to people who don't have the same ethic and discipline as me is now me being an oppressor. All right, cool. That's how oppression works, and fat people are oppressed. No, you're not. You are the majority, actually. Over 70% of Americans are either overweight or obese. And with the new classifications of the BMI, even more people are considered obese for their bodies, and skinny people are not. End of story. And then the post just said, start digging my grave then. I'm of the opinion that we should treat each other like human beings and with respect, but you can't force people to be attracted to bodies that they are not attracted to, which I 100% agree with, because if a fat person says, actually, no, I'm really not attracted to skinny people, the fat people in their spaces would not say that that is bias or that is skinny phobic. That's just normal for them. Says, why do they insist on everyone finding them sexy? The solution to being conventionally unattractive isn't to force everyone to be into you. Exactly. Not everyone will find you attractive, and that is okay. There are conventionally attractive men in like the media world that people fawn over, and I'm like, ooh. And then there's people that I think that are attractive, and then other people are like, ooh. So it is, you cannot expect everyone to find you attractive. That's not how it works. Like, it's impossible to take their so-called oppression seriously when it's all about not being the hottest person in the room. Yeah, it's so shallow. And not being able to find ultra trendy 5X clothing in stores. Yeah, not everyone. They want fit men with low body fat to like them. Honestly, you're not suggesting original OP stoop to dating a short fat guy, are you? Yeah, exactly. All the fat acceptance, fat activists, usually women, I'm sure not always, but it's usually women. They always want the fit men. They don't want the fat men. No. Why would they? This person is one Tumblr post away from inventing a new kind of conversion therapy. This is an interesting one. Someone's saying on Tumblr being critical about the Maintenance Phase podcast. I have gotten requests to react to the Maintenance Phase podcast. I believe it's by Audrey Gordon. Gordon Ramsay, Audrey Gordon. I have not listened to it. I have not seen anyone really react to it, so maybe one day I'll do it. Not anytime soon. Probably within the next few months or so. Maybe we can react to it together. We can do it like a live. Askbox says, can you say more about maintenance phase? And then the responder says, hi, thanks for the ask. Honestly, I'm not prepared to try to combat the main arguments of the podcast in this post. I'm not a researcher, and there are probably others on the site who are better equipped to handle that. However, I will say that maintenance phase was particularly damaging to me because I was stuck in the BED mindset. I found it because at the time I was consuming a lot of anti-diet content, and Spotify recommended it to me. In a relatively short amount of time, I consumed years worth of maintenance phase episodes. Oh, I didn't realize there's that many of them. Episodes of maintenance phase usually take some health or diet concept and try to expose some truth about it. Either they'll tell you about the dubious history of some fad diet or dedicate a whole episode to undermining health indicators like the BMI. The podcast has some good points, but it supports these points with cherry-picked or misrepresented studies often. Previously on this blog, I discussed how the 95% of diets fail statistic irks me. This is one claim often cited on the Maintenance Phase podcast. If you are interested in seeing this debunked, I recommend you check out Sam at Every Size's video on the subject. It is a great video. I will post a link or a screenshot of what that video looks like here. When I was listening to the podcast while stuck in BED, I didn't realize how fragile some of their main arguments were. It wasn't until I saw content that critiqued the podcast that I realized I'd been forming my own echo chamber and had placed the podcast host on a pedestal. In general, the content is aimed at making people who are currently rejecting healthy eating and exercise habits feel better about their decisions to do so. I 100% agree with this. I think the body positivity health at every size movement is lazy. It is for people who have given up and people who don't want to actually try and put forth any effort into their health. It is my personal opinion that one of the hosts, Aubrey Gordon, is too close to the problem she is trying to critique. As a self-proclaimed victim of diet culture, aren't we all? She has an obsession with collecting vintage diet books. Her differences of opinion on health have distanced her from her friends and family members. Kind of like Tess Holliday, who brags about blocking people in her family. Very weird. She is still very stuck in the ED problem and should not be speaking on matters of health, exactly, especially to her vulnerable podcast listeners who have their own issues with ED and body image. In summary, the podcast aims to debunk commonly held beliefs about diet, exercise, and fatness. However, the only thing it really succeeds at doing is creating doubt around the widely accepted fact that obesity is harmful. Yeah, they tend to dance around that fact. And this is a particularly dangerous thing to spread in an age where more and more people are overweight and obese, many of whom will experience health consequences later in life. And then Cats and Jigsaw says, the misinformation that podcast has unloaded on the population is unforgivable. Neither host had any qualification to be debunking medical science. I hated when this podcast was popular. People would say the most insane, inaccurate bunk and respond with, have you listened to Maintenance Phase? When you challenge them on it. As if Audrey Gordon, a woman whose previous career was activism and had no medical training, were the final authority on these matters. I agree that the podcast is Gordon's vanity project to justify her own weight issues. She is over 400 pounds and firmly believes it was caused by dieting. This episode, Audrey kept going on and on about pseudoephedrine / Sudafed being banned and unsafe, which is absolute hogwash. It is now restricted for sale behind the counter because you can cook meth from it. But it's perfectly safe and one of the most effective decongestants, while still hasn't been pulled from the shelves despite the FDA retracting its approval because it literally doesn't do anything. Oh, I remember reading about that. Thanks for reminding me that it's time to unsubscribe. I was sort of hate listening and enjoying some of the episodes about grifters, but I've reached my limit with the blatant falsehoods about a common non-prescription medication. If your difference of opinion distances or alienates you from friends and family, it's not a difference of opinion, it's a full-blown belief system. Opinions can change often. Beliefs are things people commit to. Yes, I agree. They can also change over time, but it is a lot harder. And they're often rooted pretty deep, which is why it causes such problems between people. It's like a religion slash politics thing. Even then, I have beliefs and they don't make me cut people off or make others avoid me because I don't try to enforce them on others. I simply accept not everyone believes the same things. And I honestly think we are better for it. Yeah, but when it comes to like health and wellness, like these things are well researched and well understood. So if someone like Audrey Gordon didn't want to, I mean, I wouldn't be her friend anyway. I don't think we have really much in common. But if she didn't want to like be my friend or family member anymore, because I believe that your health is your responsibility and you have complete control over what your body looks like, so be it. I know I'm right. Oh, this one's good. Then people should not exist. Good Lord. This has to be rage debate. Biologically, it is not natural or healthy to have zero fat on your body, okay? It's not natural to have skinny, weak, toothpick arms and legs. It's not natural to look like a skeleton, okay? If someone's body is, and I quote, naturally thin, they're either lying or something is seriously wrong with their genetics. And then people should not be actors, models, or celebrities unless they only do voiceovers, okay? There's a reason why being fat is more healthier than being thin. Thinness is a genetic flaw. This is crazy. So it cracks me up when, like the super like the radical fat people are trying to say like, oh, Ozempic is like a genocide for fat people, and then they're saying things like thin people should not exist. Good Lord. Biologically, it's not natural or healthy to have zero fat on your body. No one has zero fat on their bodies. There is a spectrum. For women and men, it is obviously different, but women can have lower body fat and still be healthy. It is in a specific range. As long as you still get your period and you are eating enough, then you can still have low body fat and be healthy. You see that more often with like athletes, so people who are performing a lot. As long as they are eating enough, it's totally fine. It's not natural to have skinny, weak, toothpick arms. It's also not natural to be morbidly obese. Naturally thin. So with this, I actually made a whole video about it. It's less of a body type and it's more of a set of behaviors and habits that people have that keep them naturally thin. They are usually more sensitive to their hunger hormones, so leptin and ghrelin. They often fidget more often. They to move more throughout the day. They tend to get hungrier, not as quickly, and then they also get full up faster. So it still boils down to energy in versus energy out. Yeah, what they think is zero body fat is in reality probably close to 15%. That's really lean number for general public. It's not close to nothing. Yeah, 15%. I'm sitting around 16% body fat right now, and that is on the lower end for a woman. For men, I'll post what the scale is here, but men shouldn't have as much body fat as women because they don't need it. They're just delusional and jealous. That's it. Yeah, I interpret it as 0% body flab jiggling around. Pretty much anyone lean and athletic in build, they definitely think that build is not natural or healthy. It always cracks me up when they're like, "Oh, if you have to go to the gym and you have to track your food just to maintain the type of body you have, then that's not healthy." And it's like, or that's not natural. And it's like, do you think DoorDash is natural? Do you think having access to DiGiorno or Tostino's pizzas within a 10-minute walk is natural? Humans are meant to move. Humans are meant to walk. Humans are meant to eat primarily whole foods, meaning food that is not processed slash food that is still in its original form and had minimal processing, kind of like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, things like that. That is how humans are supposed to eat, and that is how humans are supposed to move. We're not supposed to sit on our asses all day. The average American only gets, what is it, like 3 to 4 or 4 to 5,000 steps per day. That's abysmally low. We are meant to be moving like basically all day long, and we're not. We are sedentary. We are lazy as a society. We have the easiest and quickest access to ultra processed food as we ever had in history. Like that is not normal. That is not healthy. Yeah, and then here's sort of a not an argument, but a conversation about body fat for women. 50% body fat is not healthy at it's not unhealthy at all for men. Exactly. Here, essential fat is 2 to 5%. For women, it is 10 to 13. Athletes for men is anywhere from 6 to 13. For women, that's going to be 14 to 20. So for this essential fat, this is where you're going to find bodybuilders. So these are going to be like stage lean ready people. This is not where you want to live long term. It is not sustainable and it is not healthy. Athletes, like I said, this is where I fall into range. So I'm around 16% body fat. Fitness for men, 14 to 17%. For women, 21 to 24%. Average being 18 to 24% for men and 25 to 31% for women. And then you're going into obesity, which is 25% or higher for men, and then 32% or higher for women. 15% body fat is not unhealthy at all for men. It is pretty lean. It's a pretty lean build. 15% body fat for women kind of depends. A lot of very athletic women are fine at that number and others are not. And then someone said, I meant specifically for women, below 20% body fat for women is not sustainable / suitable and can cause health problems. It is absolutely sustainable. I've been sustaining it for over a year and I don't starve myself and I eat enough food. My maintenance calories right now are around 1700 calories and my protein goals usually sits around 110 to 120. My body weight is 109. And then my fats, I make sure I'm eating above 50 grams every single day. And then someone said, I think 20% body fat is unsustainable / unsuitable is a bit of a reach. Less than 15% I understand, since as it has been recorded to cause hormone issues in athletes, but it is not considered dangerous to be below 20% as far as I can tell. Anecdotally, I've maintained anywhere in the 15 to 18 for years as a hobby athlete with no issues. I'm not on testosterone and tend to only start having negative effects below the 15% mark. And then someone else said, I was looking this up the other day, 15 to 70% is typically given as a number common among women who are professional fitness models or athletes. 20 to 30 is a normal range and 30% and higher is considered too high. If I remember correctly, even male bodybuilders have like 5% at their leanest. They get a little bit lower than that, but that is problematically low. But they also don't stay there forever. But let's get real. These people are not talking about models or athletes. They think your average BMI 21-ish woman with a healthy, normal to 20 to 25% body fat is 0% because they're not visually overweight or whatever. Yeah, I do agree. That's the people that they are talking about. If they don't see someone that's overflowing, they automatically assume they're just like 0% body fat. And again, height is also very important when it comes to body fat percentages and just muscle mass and body composition. I had someone DM me and she said she is my height and I think she said she's closer to like 102 or 105 pounds. And she said, why do I look nothing like you? Like you have more muscle than me, but you also weigh like 7 more pounds. And it's because body composition matters. Compared to the rest of me, my muscle mass is higher. I believe I have, let me see, I can look it up on my phone. Yeah, I have 86 pounds of muscle mass, which is considered on the higher end. And theoretically, so my BMI is 21.8, and theoretically I could go lower, but I am happy. I'm happy with how I look. I love how I look. I think I look great. So I'm not going to go any lower, especially because I'm in Japan right now. But it is very important to remember that body composition matters. You and me can be the same exact height and weight and look completely different because of muscle mass. Okay, this one is funny. BMI requirements for surgery are inhumane and doctors are disgusting for limiting people's access to healthcare in this way. Tell me you're a bad surgeon without telling me you're a bad surgeon. If you can't operate on fat people, you suck at your job. Oh my God. Surgery isn't healthcare if it kills you. When someone has hundreds of pounds of excess fat bearing down on the respiratory system and most of the medications used for sedation are fat soluble, you're basically demanding assisted suicide from your medical team at a certain point. I have a lot of people in the healthcare industry that follow me, and I love when you guys tell me your stories down below. So please let me know your stories about obesity and healthcare down below, how much more difficult it is, like with x-rays or doing anesthesia. I love reading about it. Oh, this is a great comment. I've heard people at my job in healthcare get upset when a respiratory therapist or anesthesiologist or pharmacist ask about ideal body weight. There's no such thing. Yeah, they're talking about the ideal body weight for the size of your lungs, which do not get bigger, so we can adequately ventilate you and not give too much pressure. Ideal body weight is real. a real medical factor that actually matters quite a bit. All right, we got some copium in the chat here. Before, and then it's a picture, a drawing of someone who is bigger, all grayed out, and it says hated my body with an arrow pointing at it. And then after, it's a girl in color who is smaller in a cuter outfit, and then she says love it with an arrow pointed at that one. And then it says hot tip. Okay. Posting weight loss photos shows us which bodies you value. No matter how hashtag body positive your caption sounds, if you don't want us to believe that thinner is better, then stop reinforcing that message under the guise of self-love. I love before and afters. I love posting my before and afters because it gives people who are starting in the position that I started at hope that they can get to where I am now. Did it take years of work? Yeah. Was it hard? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Nope. If you have taken the time to change your body, to change your mentality, to change your lifestyle, this is a good thing. No one is saying that my before, I was going to say original, but not really my original body, but my before body is bad. However, how I was treating myself was bad. I was hinge drinking, I was hinge eating, I was not going outside, not getting sunlight, not moving my body. It was horrible. I was wildly depressed, wildly anxious, had a myriad of other mental health issues I won't get into. It was bad. Was I bad? I don't think I was really a bad person. I was kind of a bitch. You guys think I'm a bitch now. Oh my God, I was such a bitch back then because I hated myself. Of course. Me posting my before and after has nothing to do with other people. Oh, well, you're going to make the people who look like your before picture feel bad. That's not my problem. I don't know you. I don't know that person. I don't know the person who is comparing their current self to my old self. That's not the reason why I posted it. And if you are someone who does that, then that's a problem that you need to solve. That's not a problem for the person posting the before and after. I love when people are just straight to the point. They are just mad. They are the before and don't have the self-respect to become the after. That's it. That's really what it boils down to. And someone said, or it's too hard. I mean, dieting is hard. If it weren't, they have no business telling other people they can't celebrate losing weight regardless. Yeah, if it wasn't difficult, everyone would be doing it. But again, it is possible. It's simple. It is not easy. Which is why I love seeing them because granted, of course, that the person did it in the correct way and they're not lying about it. We'll just assume that they've done it in, the healthiest ways and they're not like editing or whatever. They have every single right to be proud because it is fucking hard, especially if you're able to keep it off. So please keep posting your before and afters. Don't let these pathetic losers stop you from celebrating your achievements because it is an achievement. It is fucking difficult. If they are fat and do nothing about it, no one else is allowed to become thin and feel good about it. And again, it doesn't even have to be thin. You can just become fit and like athletic. You don't have to be skinny. For me, skinny was never the goal and will never be the goal. Like I say all the time here, we over in this corner of my internet value health, wellness, and strength. And being thin oftentimes requires you to do things that are not healthy, they're not sustainable, and they are not building strength, like actual body strength, like functionality, muscle mass, and bone density. Someone said there's something so unhinged about which bodies you value line that I'm struggling to put into words. I guess maybe because it's a roundabout way of saying stop posting intentional weight loss progress pictures that make me feel bad about myself and my choices, but instead of being accountable for their own feelings and reactions, they try to claim it's other people not valuing certain body types the right way. Original OP referring to people as bodies is also similarly unhinged. And they likewise fail to take into account that excess adipose tissue does not equate to an entire body or person. And someone responded, it's also because they don't like being reminded that it's possible that living in a larger body is actually something you can change. Yes, you have control over your body. And the sooner that you come to this realization, the sooner you can start working towards the body that you genuinely love. And instead of posting this stupid shit about, oh, you know, posting before and after, you make the person who look like you feel like it, you're going to actually be working on yourself. And then you can become the after to your before photo, and then be proud and happy instead of miserable and sad online because you can't do the work that someone else can, because you have self-limiting beliefs while this other person does not. Every single before and after is invalidating the entire FA victim complex framework they've built their ego on. Personally, I'm inspired by the possibilities. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I also find before and after photos so inspiring. I love seeing the results of people larger than I ever was. Like, my own results are impressive, but people who have come so much further than me have done so much and should be so, so proud. The fact that people want to tear them down and tell them not to post these pictures, awful. Now, I will say I reserve a special place of hatred for those obviously fake ads who steal photos. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. How can I make this about my issues? This one says losing weight is not natural. It's not healthy. Losing weight is what your body does when it's sick. Oh, interesting. And can't support itself anymore. Diet culture censors any conversation about this, but it's true. All those unpleasant symptoms of weight loss, it's because you're rotting from the inside. What the fuck? You know why people who lose weight stink? What? What? Why their teeth fall out? Why they lose hair? Why their periods get lighter? It's because they're rotting. Oh my god. Healthy bodies don't do that. Remember that before you pursue intentional weight loss. When I lost all my weight, I did not stink. My teeth did not fall out. I did not lose any hair. I don't get my period, but that's because I have an IUD, but I do get my hormone panels done twice a year and they're always great. There's a difference between losing weight and straight up being Anna for years, bruh. Yeah, people, these types of people just assume anyone who is striving towards intentional weight loss is just Anna, which is just objectively not true. Original OP conflating severe Anna symptoms with normal weight loss, a common symptom of FA. And then the funniest thing is you can apply the same exact logic to like morbidly obese people or even just obese people. Like, being obese is not natural. It's not. It's because you are eating too much fucking food. It is also not healthy. Heart disease is the #1 killer in America. Type 2 diabetes is not fun. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is horrific. Losing your eyesight because of your type 2 diabetes, not fun. Oh, losing a foot, not fun. Diabetic necrosis, not healthy. People who are morbidly obese tend to smell more because of the skin folds and the bacteria and the sweat that gets trapped in there. They also have issues with their teeth. It's usually, though, from like sugar, excess sugar consumption. I'm not sure about the hair loss thing. I don't know. And then they also oftentimes don't get their periods, or they are extremely irregular because having excess adipose tissue, it is hormonally active and it wreaks havoc on your reproductive system, especially as a woman. There's a reason why your fertility gets affected on both ends of the spectrum, obviously, but being obese, it does affect your fertility, and also why your risk for endometrial cancer gets a lot higher if you are morbidly obese. This one says skinny does not equal healthy, fat does not equal unhealthy. I'm overweight. Perfect A1C, low cholesterol, great. Heart health, blood pressure, perfect. Most of the thin people I know who are even younger than me already struggling with blood pressure and cholesterol and blood sugar. People assume because they are think what? People assume because they are think they can just, I'm just gonna go steamroll over that one. You don't gain the weight, but you are also slowly unaliving yourself. I mean, yeah, that is technically true. I don't think anyone is arguing that being skinny equals healthy. However, if you are obese, you are not healthy. Simply because gravity exists. Even if your A1C and cholesterol and your blood pressure is fine now, these types of things slowly build over time and they are fine until they are not. Someone said, my mother-in-law and father are around the same age. My mother-in-law, despite being thin her whole life, has high cholesterol and high blood pressure. She's active, travels, eats well, and overall has a fantastic quality of life, despite her blood work looking a bit rough. My father, who weighs close to 400 pounds, despite having good-looking blood work for his age, can barely walk, is in terrible health, and battled a 3-foot-long blood clot in his leg a few years ago. Holy crap, how does that even work? I take her quality of life over his any day of the week. Exactly. And that's why your health, it's not just your blood work, it is also the quality of your life. It is if you can move properly, if you can get up off the floor, if you are sleeping properly. It's all of it combined. It's not just your blood work. Someone said I had hoped my high blood pressure would go away after losing weight. It didn't. Everything else though, miles better, still worth it. Also, what age is the original OP? You can feel mighty fine being obese in your 20s, but look at folks in their 40s plus on average, way worse overall health than their normal weight counterparts. One exception doesn't make the rule. Exactly. That's why a lot of the fat acceptance health at every size people tend to fall off in their mid to late 30s and try to make a change during that time because everything actually starts to catch up to them. Someone else said, when I was severely Anna, I had flawless blood work, not a single deficiency, and yet my body was still steadily destroying itself. My hair was falling out, my digestive system nearly paralyzed. Can't believe these FAs think health can be measured solely with blood work. Exactly. The effects of obesity have not caught up with them yet. Spot on. Obese and fat are not the same. You are missing the point here. Obese is a term that fat activists have been asking us to stop using. I will never stop using the term obese. I'm sorry. You can scream and cry and yell and rant about it all that you want. You can even censor it. I see them censoring it like it's a slur. No, it is a medical term. I will continue to use obese. I don't care if you like it. If you don't like it, then how about you to put some work in to not being obese anymore? It is an arbitrary medicalized term based on an arbitrary fat-phobic BMI system. You think you're being kind to fat people by separating these terms, by saying being fat is fine, but being obese is bad for you. I mean, there's a certain limit of being overweight where it's fine. Yes, being obese is bad for you. It is. You need to stop living in delusional la la land. Most of the people you are clocking as fat fit into the BMI, into the obese BMI category. That does not make them unhealthy. Yes, it does. There is no good evidence to prove that being fat is bad for you. Okay, this person is just actually stupid. Nobody's health can be determined by their weight. It absolutely can. Especially when it's on either ends of the spectrum. You can look at Eugenia Cooney and know that she is not healthy. You can look at Tess Holliday and know that she is not healthy. And if you believe otherwise, then you get some help. And the hashtags, read Aubrey Gordon's books if you want my frickin' sources. No, I don't think I will. There we go with another reference to Miss Gordon as if she's a top scholar on this issue. I just finished reading another Reddit post about her. Someone quoted, no good evidence to prove that being fat is bad for you. This is flat earther, raw milk is best, chemtrail level of science illiteracy. Clock it. That's so funny. Because I'm tired. Yeah, losing weight could possibly help with that. Oh, that's good. That is good. Anyway, being chubby makes it harder to be kidnapped, so have fun when some loser ties you up in a basement and R-words you because you made yourself a twig. Oh my god. Why did your mind even go to that? That is sickening. Why do they fantasize about the thins being assaulted? That's crazy. Yeah, they claim to be feminists until a thin woman walks into the room and then they say crap like that. Yeah, they are choice feminists. They only care about women despite being many women themselves if they are overweight or at least not skinny. It's so weird. Hey, so this is nuts. Yeah, do these clinically insane people even realize that essaying kidnapping is not the exclusive domain of thin or even conventionally attractive women? It's about control. Hope they say the same when a chubby chaser feeds them until they become bedbound and fully dependent on them to fulfill their sick power fantasies. Exactly. This is the worst thing I've read on the subreddit so far. Yeah, this is pretty up there. I might have to close this video with this one. Yeah, okay, so most people can't pick up and carry a 300+ pound person. Hell, I'd even argue 200+ pound person, but good luck when it's a home invasion and you can't even make it up the stairs. And for the great part, that's just effed up considering there's a 99% chance this nonsense was written by a woman. Yeah, big on the they're asking for it vibes. That's crazy. Alright, you guys, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? Let me know if there are any other subreddits or forums that are similar to FatLogic that you would like me to cover. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you like the video if you have not already, and consider subscribing if you are not already. I thank you for your time, and until next time. Why is that? That's a shadow. That is not, it's a shadow and a pimple. That is not a hickey. That is trashy. I would never. Good Lord. And until next time, goodbye.